Boann Distillery just released 3 whiskeys, and this is the second one that we're gonna try.
That's right. This week we're talking about the Madeira cask finished single pot still whiskey from the Boann Distillery. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt and I'm the whiskey nerd.
I'm Rose and I'm the whiskey noob.
And like we said, this week we're talking about the Madeira cask finished pot still whiskey from the Boann Distillery.
Ooh, I'm excited for this one.
Yes, and like we said, this is the second of 3 whiskeys. So if you want to see, there'll be a link up there, there'll be a link down below to the first one, which we reviewed. You can check that it came out a couple of weeks ago. They also made a nice cocktail with that one, but this here is the kind of second of that trilogy. Same kind of style of whiskey. I'll kind of give a run through of the whiskey itself in case it's the first video you're watching, and then we'll go into the tasting of it. So it is a single pot still Irish whiskey. Style of whiskey is unique to Ireland. So it's made of a mixed mash bill, at least 30% pots, at least 30% malted barley, at least 30% unmalted barley, and at most 5% other grains. And what Boann did for the start, when they were figuring out their stills, they did like a 50-50 down the middle split, so 50% malted, 50% unmalted barley, and then they kind of eventually figured out how the stills worked, and then they made a different kind of mash bill using those adjuncts, using those other grains that you're allowed to add in. And I think it actually won world's best new make spirit in, like, I think it was 2020. I can't remember exactly when it won it, but it was delicious. It won it, and that's because that's their new mash bill, which I've forgotten the details of it, so I'm going to call it up here, which is 48.5% malted barley, 50% unmalted barley, 1.1% oats, and 0.4% rye. And someone can check the math. I did the math, it works out. So that comes out to 100%.
Good.
It's a little bit of oats, actually, because it's not just about adding oats, it's also about taking away other stuff. And so when you add in the bit of oats, it actually adds a bit of creaminess, a bit of
because the oats do the creamy bit.
Like porridge and stuff. Like apparently if you add oats to like the fermentation vessel, and you aren't stirring it constantly, it hardens and turns into like glue.
Oh my god!
Because oats they're full of like.
Oh, that is true when you
like
make
porridge.
oatmeal.
Yeah, like oatmeal and things like that. Yeah, so it adds a little bit of like creaminess and texture to it to add on to the classic pot still whiskey. This is a 3.5-year-old whiskey. It's spent about 2.5 years in bourbon casks before being aged for about a year and a bit in those Madeira wine casks. And to go back to the mash bill, so it's mostly the 50-50 split, and then there's some of the newer, like that core whiskey in there, so it doesn't have an age statement because some of it is older and some of it's younger. They did say that over time they'll be phasing out that 50-50 and moving into more and more, and just then only using that new core mash bill with the oats and the rye and stuff in there. So this whiskey, it's a core product, but it will change. The bottle will stay the same. The bottle looks really cool.
It does.
But the whiskey inside it will change over time. It'll grow over time.
So basically, try it now and then keep trying it, and you never know how, like, you might catch something that's changed.
Yeah, they did say that they're open to feedback, and if people don't like something about a whiskey or they do like something, that they'll, it's an evolving process. Because they only have whiskey that's about 4 years old, 4.5 years old.
So they're learning.
Yeah, they have to get a few more years under their belt as well before they do like an age statement, like a 7-10-year-old whiskey. So this is going to be like they're figuring out, doing a bit of market research, things like that. It is a 47% whiskey. Very close to that 46% that I love. Yeah, and apparently the reason for that is that the founder, Pat Cooney, was born in 1947. Also, 47% is a good, because you don't need to chill filter. Like this isn't chill filtered. It's at natural color, so it is nice to have a whiskey around that 46, 47, 48%. Because it's not too strong, but it does deliver a nice amount of flavor.
But it also creates a really nice story, because aren't there 7 in the family?
There's 7 in the family.
So 47, 1947, 7.
There's a lot of 7s there, yes. And while the first one of these whiskies was finished in Marsala wine casks, this was finished in Madeira casks from I think it's the Justinios kind of cooperage. Those casks were originally cognac casks before being used to age those Madeira wine casks. And apparently there was a few different vintages, like Cerciel, Boel, Tinta Negra. I'm not sure what exactly the makeup of it was, but lots of different types of those Madeira wine casks went into the blend. And I think that's everything. Do you remember anything else?
I think I remember this being my favorite one.
Okay, maybe it's your favorite one. Yeah, so of the 3, like we said, there'll be another one reviewed coming out soon, and then just last one there. But right now, let's go in for this one.
Yeah.
Sláinte.
Sláinte. Cheers.
Oh, sorry, I was drinking it. On the nose. It's quite fruity.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite fruity. It's quite like
sweet.
Sweet. You get on the last one I was getting like apples, but here I'm getting like apples dipped in honey, like very sweet.
Oh yeah.
Not like a green apple, like a honey crisp red apple, something like that. Like it's a lot sweeter.
Yeah, there's definitely that added like light sweetness that's in there for sure.
Yeah, there's a bit of spice coming through, like not super heavy spice.
No.
A little bit, because again, the casks, the finishing casks, were cognac, and then they were Madeira, and then they were whiskey. So they've had a lot of like life in them already. So a lot of that oak spice has probably already kind of come out of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the lightness kind of lends itself to like apple blossoms.
Yeah, there's like that almost like floral character to it. Like is that like almost like
I think whenever we say there's something floral, I just immediately go to apple blossoms.
Yeah, like it might not necessarily be apple blossom,
but you know what I'm getting at.
It's definitely a bit of floral. It's not like perfumed.
No.
It's like a natural, like a flower, like a petal.
Yeah. Like I'm imagining myself walking through like an apple orchard, but like they haven't all turned into apples yet. There's still some flowers.
Storytime with Rose.
Storytime with Rose.
Yeah, I'm also getting like I said, I'm getting a bit of that spiciness, but it's not super spicy.
No.
It's like kind of a creamy spice, if that makes sense, and like a little bit of citrus. I
don't get a lot of
Not
citrus.
getting a huge, just like it's almost like I don't know, just like orange.
Citrus adjacent.
Again, citrus adjacent. It's not super orange,
in
but
your
a little bit. Like it's a bit of fruitiness.
Oh, like the peel.
Like a peel, yeah. It's like a bit of fruit, like the orange, apple, a bit of floral notes, a bit of spicy notes. It's quite light. Like they, I think, say on the back. They say somewhere that it's an elegant.
It is an elegant, girl.
It's elegant. It's light but not without flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to go for the palate?
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Oh, that was lovely and sweet.
Yeah.
And then I got spice at the end.
Spice.
It was like a good 40% sweet.
40% sweet.
60% spice.
60% spice. Like it does. Again, like the first one. Again, like the bourbon cask. They're gonna give you caramel, honey, butterscotch, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you get that. Hits you, spreads out, and as soon as it almost like spreads out and almost dilutes a bit in your mouth, you get that spice. It's peppery, oaky spice.
Definitely peppery and oaky.
Yeah, coming through. Like
but black pepper.
Black pepper. Are you able to tell the difference?
I think I can.
Okay.
But I did get that initial sweetness to me was like a Honeycrisp apple.
Yeah, it was very sweet. Yeah. I'm gonna go in for another sip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta see what it tastes like. I wonder if you're gonna get apple on it again.
Like I'm getting like it get a creaminess.
Okay.
It's almost coming through like a chocolate, like the bit of the oak spice, like a dark chocolate, not like fully chocolatey, but a little.
Okay, I get a little dark, not 100% dark.
And not like a milk chocolate, but definitely getting into like a little bit of like cocoa, that kind of dark.
The cocoa realm.
Yeah, that area. It's not super, but I'm just getting a little bit of that.
Okay.
As well as, again, a bit more citrus. As I'm breathing, that's into the finish, but like more of that oak spice coming through.
Yeah.
And no real alcohol burn.
No, not at all. It's smooth. It's elegant.
It's elegant.
It's an elegant whiskey.
It's an elegant whiskey.
Yes.
So I think, is that everything on the palate?
I think so.
Let's go in for the finish.
Finish.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, so again, upfront, sweet.
Upfront sweet.
Spicy.
Spicy.
Then a bit of fruitiness and a bit of like those darker, like the cocoa comes up for me.
Okay.
On the finish, it's less like tingly. I'm not gonna do a full comparison to the first whiskey.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tingle. It's very soft.
It's quite
soft.
soft. Yeah, it's quite soft. It's rounded off.
Yeah.
Like it's there.
Ooh, rounded off is good.
It's not super long. It's like medium.
Yeah.
It's not super long.
There's no burn that goes down,
no.
but then there's no that pleasantness that goes down. It still stops up here, which I'm fine with, but it's it's light and elegant. I think it's probably a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, and like as I'm breathing, the last note that's hanging on is probably like that oak, not oak spice,
yes,
like the oak flavor, that kind of
flavored oak.
The flavor of the oak, coming through, and that's it's quite light.
Yeah. I like it.
It's not. Yeah, it is nice. Like it's a nice little whiskey. There's nothing wrong or bad at all with this whiskey. Yeah.
I think it's a summer whiskey.
It's it's summertime where
it's hot outside, so you got that spice and intensity. So you need something to even it out.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's nice. It's a nice little whiskey.
Yeah.
Before we give our final thoughts on the whiskey, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We put out whiskey reviews every Wednesday.
Yeah.
We put out cocktail recipes featuring whiskey, and there will be a cocktail recipe featuring this whiskey this Friday, so make sure you come back for that one. But now, what do you think? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, and this is a nice one. This is of the. I'm not going to go in. There'll be a video of us comparing all three, so check back for that. But of the three, this is a nice one.
Yeah. What's the price?
The price is about €70.
I think that's fair.
Due to the tax in Ireland, that might actually be higher than you would pay like on the continent in Europe or over in America. You might be able to get this for less.
Yeah.
But the tax in Ireland is quite high. If it had been up higher, at like €100, it probably wouldn't be fair for like a 3.5-year-old whiskey. Like,
yeah.
Yes, the whiskey will get older as the production moves on. Yes, it might have more cask influence as time goes on, but I think €70 is fair to get in the market and then kind of stay at that point before you get into those like the premium age statement kind of whiskey. So I think it's a fair price.
I think it's a fair price. I think it's a really nice whiskey. It's very clean, well-rounded, elegant, clean. And the bottle is gorgeous.
And the design of the bottle is cool. Like even just like the little thing here, the little nubbin on the neck.
Yeah.
It's kind of like like the bolt, or I'll put a picture of it up there, like the pot still, like on a pot still where they bolted in is that little thing there.
Yeah, you can tell a lot of thought and design and care went into that.
Yeah. So I think that's all to say about this.
Yes.
Check back again for the third whiskey in this series, but now I think we're going to keep on enjoying it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Sláinte.
Bye-bye.